If the baby misses me too much tonight, send for me. I'm going to my own house and you know where it is. Thank you, Hannah smiling. But she told herself she would not send for Yumi. However, the baby cried. Yumi said to Hannah that if the baby missed her at night, she could call her. She further added that she was going to her own house and Hannah knew where her house was. Hannah smiled and thanked her for the offer, but to herself she said that in case the baby cried, she would not call for Yumi. She made the breakfast and Sado helped with the children. Neither of them spoke of the servants beyond the fact that they were gone. But after Hannah had taken morning food to the prisoner, she came back to Sado. The next morning, Hannah prepared the breakfast and Sado helped her by looking after the children. Neither of them talked regarding the servants, but after Hannah served the morning food to the prisoner of war, she came back to Sado probably to talk something. Why is it we cannot see clearly what we ought to do? She asked him, even the servants see more clearly than we do. Why are we different from other Japanese? Hannah was very worried and she questioned that why they were not very clear about what they ought to do. She added that even their servants were very clear as compared to them. She said that why were they were behaving differently from other Japanese people. Hannah wanted to say that as Americans were their enemies, they should not have treated that prisoner of war and they should have let him die just like any other Japanese would have done. Sado did not answer, but a little later he went into the room where the prisoner was and said brusquely, "Today you may get up on your feet. I want you to stay up only 5 minutes at a time. Tomorrow you may try it twice long. It would be well that you get back your strength as quickly as possible." Briskly means quickly. Sado did not reply to Hannah, but after some time he went into the room where the prisoner of war was resting and spoke very fast. He said that the day the man could get up and stand on his feet, Sado wanted him to stand only for 5 minutes at a time. Further, he added that the next day he could try to stand for double the time, that is 10 minutes. Sado also said that it would be good for everyone that the man regained strength as soon as possible. Sado hinted that they wanted to get rid of the American as early because he had become a cause of trouble to them. He saw the flicker of terror on the young man's face that was still very pale. "Okay," the boy murmured. Evidently, he was determined to stay more. "I feel I ought to thank you, doctor, for having saved my life." Sado saw that his words brought a hint of terror and scare on the face of the young boy. His face was still very pale and colorless because he was very weak. The boy spoke in a low voice and said, "Okay." It appeared that he wanted to speak something more about, but he just said that he wanted to thank Sado for saving his life. "Don't thank me too early," Sado said cloudily. He saw the flicker of terror again in the boy's eyes. Terror as unmistakable as an animal. The scars on his neck were crimson for a moment. Those scars, what were they? Sado did not ask. Crimson means bright and red color. Sado was very expressionless when he said that the boy did not need to thank him yet. As he spoke this, he saw that the hint of the scar again appeared in the boy's eyes. The writer compares the boy's terrorized eyes to that of scared animal. The injury marks on the neck of the boy turned the bright and red color for a while. Sado thought that what has caused those injury marks, but he did not ask the boy about them. In the afternoon, the second thing happened. Hannah, working hard on unaccustomed labor, saw a message come to the door in the official uniform. Her hands went weak and she could not draw her breath. The servants must have told already. She ran to though, gasping, unable to utter a word. But by then the messenger had simply followed her through the garden, and there he stood. She pointed out at him helplessly. Unaccustomed means labor not used to perform hard work. Gasping, struggling to breathe, unable to speak. That day, the second incident happened in the afternoon. Hannah was busy with the housework as the servants had left. All of a sudden, she had to perform all the work which she was not used to. She was very tired. She saw that a messenger wearing official uniform had come to the house. As she saw him, her hands went weak and she was unable to breathe. This was because she felt that the servants must have told the authorities that they were sheltering an enemy. Hannah ran up Sado and she was struggling to breathe. She was unable to speak. But that time the messenger also followed her through the garden and he stood in front of Sado. Hannah was helpless and she pointed out her finger towards the messenger. Sado looked up from his book. He was in his office, the other partition of which was thrown up to the garden for the southern sunshine. Southern sunshine means the door of the office which opened into the garden faced the south direction. This means that the sunshine which entered the office was not direct and bright. Instead, it was a shady sunshine. That is southern sunshine. Sado was reading a book, and when he saw Hannah, he looked up. He was sitting in his office, which had a partition in it. The part of the office beyond the partition opened into the garden and was full of shady sunshine. What was it? He asked the messenger, and then he rose, seeing the man's uniform. Sado asked the messenger that the matter due to which he had visited them. When he saw that the messenger was wearing a uniform, he stood up as a mark of respect. You are to come to the palace, the man said. The old general is pain again. The messenger said that Sado was supposed to accompany him to the palace. He added that the old general was suffering in pain and Sado was supposed to visit him and treat him as a doctor. Oh, Hannah breathed. Is that all? All, the messenger exclaimed. Is it not enough? Indeed, it is, she replied. I am very sorry. Upon hearing this, Hannah relieved and she said, Oh, with this, she took a deep breath and asked that was that all for which the messenger had come. The messenger reacted and said, All, he could not understand that what else could it be, or for which he was supposed to visit the house. He asked that he was that not enough. Did not they want any other reason for him to visit them? Hannah was sorry for her reaction and said that the reason was enough for the messenger to visit them. She did not need any other reason for him to visit them. When Sado came to say goodbye, she was in the kitchen, but doing nothing. The children were asleep, and she sat merely resting for a moment, more exhausted from her ride than from work. As Sado had to accompany the messenger, he went to Hannah to say goodbye. Hannah was in the kitchen, but she was not doing anything. The children had gone to asleep. The Hannah was taking rest. She was more tired due to the scar on seeing the messenger than she was from doing the household work. I thought they had come to arrest you. She said. Hannah said to Sado that she had thought that the messenger had come to arrest him. He gazed down into her anxious eyes. I must get rid of this man for your sake, he said in distress. Somehow, I must get rid of him. Sado looked carefully at Hannah's anxious eyes. He was very sad and distressed, and he said that he must get rid of the man for her sake. He added that he had to get rid of the man by any means. Sado goes to see the general. Sado went along with the messenger to visit the general. Of course, the general said the weakly, I understand fully, but that is because I once took a degree in Princeton, so few Japanese have. Indispensable, necessary. That is the meaning. Sado narrated the entire story to the general. The general, who was very weak, said that he understands Sado's position because he had also studied in America at the Princeton University, but there were only a few Japanese who had studied in America. I care for the man, Excellency, Sado said, but having operated on him with such success. Yes, the general said. It only makes me feel you more indispensable to me. Evidently, you can save anyone. You are so skilled. You say you think I can stand one more such attack as I have had today. Not more than one, Sado said. Sado replied to the general that he did not care for the American, but as he had operated upon him successfully. The general interrupted him and said, yes, he felt that Sado was a necessary part of his life. As Sado had been successful at operating on the man, the general also felt that Sado was very skilled. The general asked that did Sado think that the general had any chance of surviving another heart attack as one he had that day. Sado replied that in his opinion, the general could not survive more than one such a heart attack. Then certainly I can allow nothing to happen to you, the general said with anxiety. His long, pale Japanese face became expressionless, which meant that he was in a deep thought. You cannot be arrested, the general said, closing his eyes. Suppose you were condemned to death, and the next day I had to have my operation. The general said that then in that case he could not allow anything to happen to Sado. He wanted to say that he needs Sado and so he would protect him. The general long, weak, yellowish face became expressionless because he was thinking about Sado being arrested. He became serious, closed his eyes at the thought of Sado being arrested, and said that Sado could not be arrested. Further, he added that if Sado was sentenced to death and he needed an operation the next day, then who would operate upon him? So, the general wanted to say that he needed Sado and so he would protect him and he would not let anything happen to